Okay, the general equation of a cubic function, the one that you use to find its equation if you are given a graph already, is this one here. Y, okay, to be right. So the general equation, can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention? The general equation is y equal to a times x minus x1. Now, can I have your attention, please? I need you to look here. Can you look in front, please? It's y equal to a. This a here is the coefficient of the x cubed term. It's the one which determines the what? The shape. This x here, it's an x value on the graph, which corresponds to this y value. So this x and that y, they correspond to each other. This x1 here, it's an x-intercept times x minus x2. Okay? This x, just to emphasize this x here, it is the same as that x. Okay? It's the same value. Right? I'm going to repeat that. That x there, which I underlined in green, is the same x value. You don't substitute two different x values there. The x2, it's an x-intercept, right? Since it's cubic, we are going to have x minus x3 as well. So this is the same value, and that same value of x here, it corresponds to that y value. So it will be a specific point given on the graph where you know the x value and it's what? Y value. Then these ones are the x-intercept. These ones are the x-intercept. Okay? In most cases, there will be a maximum of 3. Sometimes you can have 2 of them whereby x1 and x2 are equal. We have already dealt with a case like that. If the turning point is on the x-axis, it means x1 and x2 are equal. Sometimes you can also have x1, x2, and x3 being equal, which is the third case on the graph. So the second case whereby x1 and x2 are equal is this case here, whereby a turning point is on the x-axis. All right? Then, if you scroll down like that, we can have a case where there is only one x-intercept, which means x1 will be equal to x2 will be equal to x3. Okay, in that case, we can generalize that equation like this. But the best equation that you can memorize is the one that I'm going to write here. Y equal to a times x minus x1 times x minus x2 times x minus x3. This is the equation that you have to know with regard to finding the equation of a cubic function. Okay, and you need to be aware that there are 3 cases. x1, x2, and x3 can be different values. There is also a case where x1 and x2 are equal. There is also a third case whereby x1, x2, x3 are all equal. Okay, so that's what you have there. Right, so allow me now to move on to an example where you use these equations here, but I'm gonna concentrate on the first one because I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so let's go to an example now where we apply this. Right, the example, I already have them. Right, these are the questions, so I'm going to go over this as an example where I'll apply what I just told you. Okay, this question is from Mind Action Series. I just want to remind you that I sent you a new edition of the Mind Action Series textbook. That textbook is much better than the old edition, and it's much better than Platinum Maths. All right, so let's go. Let's do these examples. The first question, 1a, it says f of x is equal to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. That's the general equation of a cubic function, right? Is the graph of the cubic function passing through the points? You have got 6, 0. This point here, where x is 6, y is 0, it's called the y-intercept. Okay? Remember, if y is 0, we are dealing with with an x-intercept. Okay? If y is 0, we are dealing with a what? An x-intercept. If x is 0, we are dealing with a y-intercept. Okay? So here, it's y that's 0, so we are dealing with an x-intercept. So x is 6, y is 0, that's an x-intercept. X is 0, y is minus 12, that's a y-intercept. X is 1, y is 0, another x-intercept. X is minus 2 and y is 0, a third x-intercept. So here, we are going to have, this will be x1, that will be x2, and that will be x3. This minus 12, that's the y-intercept. Okay, so the question says determine the values of a, b, c, and d. Okay, we need to find those coefficients. It's not complicated. So what you do, first, you write the general equation y equal to a times x minus x1 times x minus x2 times x minus x3, like that. Okay? Now, if you want to find the values of a, b, c, and d, first thing you have to find a first. And to find a first, you need a y value and you need an x value there. Now, that y and x value will be these two values here. It's always better to substitute x equal to 0 here and there and there. And here you substitute a specific value of y which is not 0. So the only point that we can use is this point here where we've got the y-intercept. Therefore, where there is y, I'll put minus 12. Where there is a, I'll put a. Where there is x here, I'll put 0. Where there is x1, I'll put 6. Right? Where there is x, I'll put 0. Where there is x2, I'll put 1. Where there is x, I'll put 0 again. So it means I'll put 0 3 times. Because that x is the same value. Where there is x3, since x3 is minus 2, this will be 0 minus 2. Now here you have to be very careful because the x3 is negative. Okay? The x3 is negative. Now there is no specific rule. I just need to emphasize this. Can I have your attention? I'm hearing some sounds or something that I'm not supposed to hear. Alright. It doesn't matter if you decide to make this one your x1, that one your x2, this one your x3, you still get the same answers. You understand that? You can make this one here your x1, that 6 your x2, the minus 2 your x3. You still get the same answer in the end because of multiplication. Right? So when you get here now, you just simplify this to get the value of what? Of a. So this becomes minus 12 equal to a times minus 6. And that one will give me minus 1. Then 0 minus minus 2 give me positive 2. Okay? Then you simplify, you get minus 12 on the left. Minus 6 times minus 1 gives me a positive 6. times 2, I'll get a positive 12. So this becomes 12a. Okay? You divide both sides by 12. So your a will be -1. Alright? So I found a. I now need to find b, c, and d. The good thing, hey, can you stop talking? Stop talking. Alright. -6 minus, can I have your attention? Can I have your attention, please? -6 minus 1 gives you a +6. Am I right? +6 times 2 gives you a +12. Okay? Then you divide both sides by 12, you get a equal to -1. Alright? Now, to find B, C, and D, what you have to do is substitute the value of A. Okay? Substitute the value of A only. Don't substitute X. Substitute X1. Substitute X2. Don't substitute X. Don't substitute X. Substitute X3. Don't substitute the Y. Then you use FOIL and your knowledge from grade 9 to remove the what? The brackets. If you don't know that, then you won't be able to do the question. Alright? So on the next page, that's what I'm going to do. Alright? I found my A, so I'm going to rewrite my equation to be y equal to A is -1, so I'll put -1 times x minus 6 times x minus 1 times x, okay, allow me to write x plus 2, okay? Right, so this will be x plus what? 2, like that. Now, for me to find B, C, and D, I need to remove the brackets. Okay? So this becomes y equal to, let me multiply this, the first two brackets first. Forget about the -1 for now. Right? So I'll put this inside square bracket. X times x, that will give me x squared. X times -1 minus x. Minus 6 times 6x, that will give me -6x. Minus 6 minus 1, +6. Alright? Then I'll multiply whatever results by x plus 2. Now, you need to be very careful here when you are doing it. You have to know your algebra, which is what I'm going to talk about next week. The grade 10 and 11 algebra. So this will be equal to y equal to -1, right? I can simplify the write x squared minus 7x plus 6 times x plus 2, right? Then let me remove the circular brackets. So that will be y equal to -1 times x squared times x, that will be x cubed. X squared times +2, that will be +2x squared. Right? Yes. So can you do me a favor there? Right? -7x times x, that's -7x squared. -7x times +2, that's -14x. Then 6 times x, that's +6x. And 6 times 2, that's +12. Then let's remove that square bracket, but let me simplify what's inside first. So that will be x cubed, 2x squared minus 7x squared, that will give me -5x squared. Okay? I hope you are following that. Hey, can you put that away? Right? Minus 14x plus 6x, that will give me -8x plus 12. Then I need to multiply each term inside the square bracket by -1, which means the sign is going to what? Change. So our final equation will be y equal to -x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 12. Right? Okay? Now I can determine B, C, and what? And D. So I can now say, therefore, A is -1. I've got that. B is going to be the coefficient of x squared, which is what? 5. Then c is going to be the coefficient of x, which will be 8. And the constant term d is going to be negative 12. Alright? And then you are done. So this will be the final answer. Alright? You have to know that. You have to know. Okay, so this is one example. Like I've got a second example which I'm going to do now. And I'll do 3, so I'll do a second one, then a third one. And then we move on to another aspect. Alright. Okay. Is there anybody who has got any questions so far? Is there anyone who has got a question? Yes, Nandi? Yes? Alright, as a class exercise, can I have your attention? Can you do number 2? Sorry, number B. Apply what I just did. Do number B. 1B. Alright. Can I carry on, please? Can I have your attention? Can I have your attention? Alright. So for 1B, we are given our equation as f of x equal to minus x cubed plus ax squared plus bx minus 12. Am I right there? Yes. That's what we are given, right? Yes. Now, we are supposed to find the values of a and b. But we are also told that a turning point is on the x-axis. Right? So, to find the values of a and b, it means we have to say y will be equal to a times x minus x1 squared times x minus x2. Where there is x1 here, we will put the value of x at the turning point. Is that clear to everyone? It will be the value of x at the turning point. So, it means we are going to have y equal to, now check this now. This a here, you see this a of the general equation, is the coefficient of this x cubed, which is equal to what? Negative 1. So it's minus 1 here. Right? Are you following there? Yes. Then you put x here minus 2 squared. Then here it will be x plus 3. Right? You should have that. If you made a mistake, just correct yourself. Yes?
So this x is 0, sir.
Which x? x1 and x2 cannot be 0.
No, not those ones. So what
Talking about this one here. This one here. This one here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's unknown. In this case, it's unknown. Okay, in this case, it's unknown. Because why is it unknown? It's because we are only given, if you look at the question, we are only given 2 x-intercepts. So we can't say x is 0. Alright? Then from here, let's simplify. We get minus 1. This x minus 2 all squared, it will give you x squared minus 4x plus 4. That will multiply x plus 3. Then y will be equal to minus. Allow me to remove the circular bracket. So x squared times x, I'll get x cubed. X squared times 3, I'll get positive 3x squared. Minus 4x plus x times x, that will give me minus 4x squared. Minus 4x times 3, that's minus 12x. Are you following there? It's the algebra now that I'm doing. Alright? Then 4 times x, that's positive 4x. 4 times 3, that's positive 12. All right? Then, listen. Listen. So this becomes y equal to minus x cubed. That will give me minus x squared. Okay? Please remember, 3x squared minus 4x squared, that will give me minus x squared. Minus 12x plus 4x, that will give me minus 8x. Alright? Plus 12. Alright? In the end, listen, in the end, this minus 12 here, it must appear in my equation. This minus x squared must appear. However, y equal to minus x squared plus x squared plus 8x minus 12. Okay, then listen, we want the coefficient of x squared. Okay, we want the coefficient of x squared, which is what? 1. So a will be 1. The coefficient of x there is going to be 8. So b will be 8. All right, and we don't know the value of b, we don't know the value of c, we don't know the value of d. All right, we are given that the graph of g intersects the x-axis at x equal to minus 5 and y equal to 0, which is here. Then we have a turning point here, a turning point which is also an x-intercept, which means we have the same value of x twice. That's what this means, right? And we are also given the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept there, right? So we need to show that b is equal to 1, c is minus 16, and d is 20. Okay, now to do that, you just do what I did earlier. First thing, you write your equation, y equal to a times x minus x1 squared times x minus x2. Okay? This a here is the coefficient of x cubed. So that will be y equal to 1 times x minus. Now, I want you to be aware here that we are only given the first value here. That is minus 5. This minus 5 here is going to be my x1. But what about x2? Okay, what about x2? Sorry, x2 is going to be minus 5, but this x1 here, we don't know it. Okay, it's an what? It's an unknown. So I'll put minus 1 here. Where there is x1, I'll put x1 squared. Then, where there is x, I'll put x. Where there is x2, I'll put minus 5. So that will be minus 5. Like that. So if I simplify this, I'll get y equal to x minus x1 squared times x plus 5. Alright? Now, okay, I want you to know that we can calculate, here we can calculate this x1 here by using the y-intercept. Do you agree with me? Huh? Okay, since we don't know what x1 is, but we are given a point which is a y-intercept. It means where there is y, we can put 20. Where there is x, we'll put 0. X, we put 0. Then we can determine what x1 is. Are you following that? Yes. X3 will be 0. Well, if you use the x3, means x1 and x2 are going to be unknown. Then x3 is going to be minus 5. Your x-intercepts cannot be 0. Okay, in most cases. Like in this case here, the x-intercept cannot be 0 in this case. Unless if the graph was passing through the what? The origin. But it's not passing through the origin. Okay? So you have to find that x1. Right, I'm going to repeat this again. I've said it many times. For this question here, we don't know the value of x at the what? Turning point. Yes. What? What?
Why is A1?
Why is the value of A?
Okay. If you look at the equation for g of x, what's the coefficient of x cubed? It's 1. Right? So let's calculate x1. I hope you are not going to confuse yourself here. The general equation is f of x equal to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. Right? So the equation for g of x, it is given in that form. The meaning of this a here and the meaning of this a are the same. Okay? They determine the what? The shape. Alright, let me carry on. Go. But you are going to miss out on it. So where there is y, we put 20. Where there is x, there we put 0. Right? Okay? Are you following that? Then we will get 20 equal to. Now, this is the same as x1 all squared. Do you agree with me? So I can write this as x1 squared. This is the same as 5. So I can write this as 5x1 squared. Do you agree with me then?
Yes.
Right. Then we have to divide both sides by what? By 5. So if you divide both sides by 5, you get 4 equal to x1 squared. Alright? So, what? Right? Then when you find square root, means x1, you take the positive, because remember the square root of 4 is both a negative and a what? But you take the positive because of the point. So x1 is going to be 2. Are you following?
Yes.
Now, once we know what x1 is, it becomes a piece of cake.
Yes.
Right? So let's go to the next page. Then we can write y equal to 1 times x minus 2 squared times x plus 5. Right, like that. But allow me to recalibrate this. Alright. Listen. So this becomes y equal to x minus 2 times x minus 2 times x plus 5. If you are talking, can you be quiet? And then you get x squared minus 4x plus 4 times x plus 5. And that will give me x cubed plus 5x squared minus 4x squared, right, minus 20x, then plus 4x plus 20. So this will give me x cubed. The good thing is, the coefficient of x cubed here, it's a 1, like how it's supposed to be. Then if I simplify here, I'll get plus x squared. Do you agree with me there? Then minus 20x plus 4x, that will be minus 16x plus 20. So I'll have that. Now check this out. Right? If you look at, you see this y-intercept here, the 20 there, is the value of d. So that d must also appear in your equation. And the coefficient of x cubed is a 1, it must also appear in your equation. So then you can say, therefore, in this case, we want b, c, and d. So our b is going to be 1, which is the coefficient of x squared. Right? C is going to be minus 16, which is the coefficient of what? Of x. And d will be 20. Right? Remember, The question was saying, show that B is 1, C is minus 16, and D is 20. So the values of B, C, and D are already given. They are here. You just have to prove that they are equal to what's given, which is what I have done here. I have done that here by writing that equation. Right. Okay. Is there anybody who has got any questions before I give you a break? Okay. So what I'm going to do, first thing, I'm going to find my first derivative. But I have to write my equation first. My equation is equal to f of x equal to x cubed. The b is 1, so that will be plus x squared. C is minus 16, so that's minus 6x plus 20. So f prime of x, it will be equal to 3x squared. I expect you to know this by now. Plus 2x minus 16. That's the what? First derivative. We use the first derivative to determine the coordinates of the stationary points. Then we equate that derivative to 0. Okay? Don't try to factorize it. Use the quadratic equation, sorry, the quadratic formula. That's the best. So this becomes x equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Right? So this becomes equal to, our b is positive, so that will be minus 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 2 squared minus 4 times a is 3, and c is minus 16. This is all over 2 times 3. All right? Now, let's move on to the next page. Okay? To the next page now, we simplify this. So it's going to become x equal to minus 2 plus or minus 4 minus, okay, that is minus 16. So I'll get 64 times 3, that will give me 192. So that will be a plus. So eventually I'll get 192 here, all over 6. And that will give me minus 2 plus or minus the square root of 196. What is the square root of 196? 14. So eventually you have x equal to minus 2 plus or minus 14 all over 6. If I take the positive here, I'll get 12 over 6. If I take the negative, I'll get x equal to minus 16 over 6. So my x will be 2, or my x will be, well, that will be minus 8 over 3. Alright, now these are the x values at the stationary points. Now I need to determine the y values. Okay, now the y values I have to substitute. Okay, so let me start by substituting x equal to 2. So I will have f2, that will be 2 cubed plus 2 squared minus 16 times 2 plus 20. This will give me 8 plus 4 minus 32 plus 20. Can someone tell us the answer here?
0.
Okay, it will be 0. Right? Now that 0, it's a good thing that we are getting 0. It's a sign that we have a stationary point or a turning point on the x-axis. Right? Then f minus 8 over 3. F minus 8 over 3, that will be minus 8 over 3 cubed plus minus 8 over 3 squared minus 16 times minus 8 over 3 plus 20. Can you simplify that and tell me the answer?
137.
Yeah? It's what?
137.
137. All right. So it means our two stationary points are going to be at x equal to 2 and y 0. The other one is going to be at x equal to minus 8 over 3 and y equal to 1372 over 27. Okay, those are the coordinates. Yes, these will be the coordinates of the stationary point. Sit straight. Okay, are you following what I'm doing? All right, so let's move on to the last question. The last question. The last question is on concavity. Okay, it's on concavity. The last question is on concavity. Can I carry on? Why are you saying no? I need to carry on so that the next time we meet, we can start something else. All right. The last question says, listen carefully. Is the graph concave up or concave down at this point? See, at this point here, where we have our y-intercept, is the graph concave down or up at that point? Now, for you to be able to determine that, my suggestion is find the second derivative, or rather find the value of x at the point of inflection. So that's what I'm going to do. All right?